Hey everybody again on YouTube. This is another TechBiz tutorial. Today we're going to make a cinemagraph by animating some rain and looping it over a photograph. So this is an image I got from a website called unsplash.com, and they have a whole bunch of free photographs on there of great quality that you can use for projects and different things. And so if you're looking for images for a project or to practice on Photoshop, that's a great place to find some good free resources. So I have the image right here, and I'm going to start off here by going up to Image and Adjustments. I'm going to go to Hue Saturation, and I'm going to drag down the saturation to take most of the color out of the image. A little bit, but not all of it. Then I'm going to click OK. Then I'm going to hit Control L to bring up my levels, and I'm going to go down to Output Levels, and I'm going to bring this down just to make the image a little bit darker, as if it's more cloudy. Then I'm going to click OK. I'm then going to add a new layer, and I'm going to Shift Backspace to Fill, and I'm going to fill with black. I'm going to click OK. Then I'm going to go up and add noise. I'm going to go to Filter, Noise, Add Noise. This looks good at about 40%. Make sure it's Gaussian and chromatic. And then I'm going to click OK. Then I'm going to go back up to Filter and go to Blur, just to add a little bit of blur. All right, that looks good. Then I'm going to go up to Image, and I'm going to go to Image Rotation and switch it 90 degrees counterclockwise. Okay, then I'm going to go up to Filter, and I'm going to go to Stylize and Wind. And I want it to blast, and I want it to go from the left. Then I'm going to go back up to Filter, and you can either hit Control F to do it again, or I can go click on Wind again. And I got that effect on there twice. I'm going to go back up to Image, Image Rotation, 90 degrees clockwise. Make sure that my image is still right side up, and it is. Okay, then what I'm going to do is go over to Filter again, and I'm going to go down to Other and Offset. And we want to make a streamless loop, or a kind of a never-ending pattern. And right here we see this line, so we want to take this off. So it doesn't really matter where your vertical is, just as long as it's to where you can see where that line is, where the top and the bottom of the picture met when it was offset. So I'm going to click OK. Then I'm going to use my rectangular marquee tool, select that area, Shift Backspace to fill, and this time I'm going to go down to Content Aware and hit Control D, and it did a pretty good job of taking those elements out. You can also use the clone brush or the spot healing brush to take that line out, but just to make this faster, I think that works good. And I'm going to go to Image and Adjustments, and I'm going to go down to Invert to switch the color properties around of all my shades. So black turns to white, white turns to black. Okay, so I have my layer of rain here to use, and I'm going to now go up to Edit, and I'm going to go to Define Pattern, and I'm going to call this Rain. So I'm going to click OK. All right, and we're good with that. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I don't need this layer anymore, but I always save my layers, and in case I mess up later, I'm going to make it invisible. Click the little eyeball there, add a new layer, and this time I'm going to Shift Backspace to fill with 50% gray, and then I'm going to click OK. All right, now what I need to do next here is I'm going to double click in the shaded area of layer 2. And I would like to go down to where it says Pattern Overlay. So I'm going to click this. I'm going to click on the name Pattern Overlay to the side. And I'm going to bring in the pattern we just saved. So right here on the very end is my new pattern I created, the rain pattern. I'm going to click that. So we're good for that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to Blend Mode, and I'm going to go down to Screen, and it looks a little bit gray because I have my rain over gray layers. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to blending options, and I'm going to go down to my fill opacity and bring that down. Okay, now as I look at this, if that looks too bright or it's hard to see through it, I can always go back in. I can change the opacity of the layer itself and make it as rainy as I want. I can always change that later. All right, so I'm leaving this one here at 56%. Maybe I'll just take it down to 50%. I'm going to click OK. Then I'm going to go up to Window, and I'm going to go to Animation. Now, if you use Photoshop Creative Cloud, this would be under Timeline. There is an animation, but there's Timeline, and it works the same way. So I'm going to click Animation, and I have these layers on here. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to Layer 2 is the one that has my rain. I'm going to click this little arrow to the side, and I'm going to go down to Style, and I'm going to make sure this arrow is all the way to the left, this blue arrow. I'm going to click the little stopwatch, and it's going to put in a little keyframe right there. All right, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this arrow all the way over to the side of my animation. All right, then I'm going to go back to Layer 2 Properties here. I'm going to double click, and I'm going to go back down to where it says Pattern Overlay. And if I move my cursor over this and I hold down Shift and I click and drag down, I can move this rain. So I'm going to move this down. The more times you move it, the faster it's going to rain. So I'm going to do this about 10 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe 2 more just to be sure. I want it to be raining kind of hard. Okay, and so now after I have that done and I click OK, you're going to notice it puts a second keyframe there. Now when I scroll through this, you'll notice that it's raining in my image. So this looks pretty good right here. Now, if you want the rain to fall straight down, it's okay like that, but sometimes you want to change the direction of it a little bit. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to right click on Layer 2, and I'm going to duplicate the layer, and I'm going to make this lower one invisible. Click the little eyeball, and then on this top one I'm going to right click here, and I'm going to convert it to a smart object. Okay, now after I do that, it switches it back to normal overlay. So I'm going to go to this little window here, and I'm going to go back to screen. All right, and then again, if you want to change it again to the opacity of where you want it, you can. This looks pretty good. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to hit with Control minus. Then I'm going to hit Control T to transform, and I'm going to just put the rain a little bit at an angle. And then by holding Shift as I resize the corners, I'm just going to make sure that my rain covers the whole canvas. So now it looks like I have it about all right there. And then Control plus to zoom back in. And now as I move this, it gives a little bit of angle to the rain. All right, so the next thing I'm ready to do now that it's finished is you can go up to File, and I'm going to go to Save for Web and Device. So I'm going to click here. All right, and then this window is going to come up, and it goes through and renders it. Sometimes it can be time consuming depending on the size of the image. And so as I look up here, I like to have mine be at 128 colors. I'm going to leave it at the same size. Now if I wanted to upload this to Twitter or something, you might have to do something to decrease the size because sometimes you have size limitations. I'm going to have it as a GIF. And then down here where it says looping options, I'm going to click here and I'm going to say forever. Okay, once I'm done with that, I'm now ready to hit save and desktop, and I'm just going to call this Rain Project GIF just to give it a name, and then I'm going to hit save. Okay, it's going through and saving the work. All right, and now we have it saved. So on here, I have Rain Project GIF. I'm going to double click and open that on my desktop. And here we have our animation. And again, my screen capture software may be kind of distorting the image right there or slowing it down, but you kind of get the idea of what it looks like. And so there we have our cinemagraph with a rain effect. Thanks a lot for watching, and stay tuned for more.